It is my pleasure to open this 7th annual general meeting of Miura. I'm very happy that you are all here and that we have so many people interested in what we are doing. And what Miura is doing is really support our members in all their activities and in particular keeping our benefits going. So unfortunately, in spite of hope that we will do this meeting in live, COVID is still around us, and I think that we have by now been quite used to this Zoom proceeding. In fact, one could say it is not such a bad thing to stay in pajamas or whatever, and you don't even need to do any special thing for you to appear at this meeting. So let me just start, and the first item is the approval of agenda. I hope you all see it. Any motion? Okay, second. We're going to do it in a way.
Auntie, you have to say the name of the person who accepts.
That's right.
Makes the motion. Otherwise, our
Saul
secretary
will not know
doesn't
what to write.
Right.
Yes. Okay, Lawrence, and who is second? Who has seconded? Okay, and Vikram. We are not going to do voting in the full sense. We're going to ask, is there any objection to this agenda? If not, anybody abstained from voting? If not, it passed. Okay, so the next is approval of the June 2nd, 2021 minutes. Anybody?
Ante, excuse me.
Yes, please.
Are we supposed to see everybody on the screen, or you see only the people?
Yes, we see the number of people on the screen.
Because
And if you are not seeing it, please go to gallery view.
I see
On the
only
right
you.
top corner,
Yeah, okay.
then you will see everybody, meaning those that are present here.
Have standard, side by side gallery. Okay.
That's
Right
right.
now it's side by side because it slides up.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless you have more than one screen, then it's okay. All right, we go on. Approval of the June 2nd, 2021 minutes. Anybody proposes approval? You are very bashful. I will just say Greg is proposing and Myron is second. Okay, and we are going to do again the same way. Is anybody objecting to the approval of the minutes? Anybody abstained? Alfred.
Yeah, I have a question. Don't you usually list those people who are there on the minutes? Isn't that customary?
Who are there? We could.
Who are the attendees?
Yes, we should have it. It is not there. Okay,
Right.
we have it, and we'll just revise this and put all the present, all those that were present at the last annual general meeting. Thank you, Alfred. That's a good point. It should always
just as a point of interest, we had not done so in the previous 6 general meetings that I attended.
Okay.
We had not published the list of participants, but it is a good idea that we do so.
I would say that's good, particularly when the at the next annual general meeting somebody approves without being there, right? So this would be kind of
Okay. Just to say, because we're having a virtual meeting and people are just signing in with the link, that would mean somebody would be responsible for making a list of everybody that's here.
and we are going to, in fact, I will, while somebody's talking, I will make a photo of everybody on my gallery view because I have slides on the other side. Yes, David, please.
For an AGM, I don't think it's customary to list everybody who's there. It could be hundreds of people.
We never have.
Yeah, not for an AGM, for a regular board or executive meeting, yes.
Okay, that's also a very good point. So scratch this proposal and we go on. Do we need to go to the motion? No, we are not. Okay, so with this, I would go on our agenda, and the next item 2 is report on activities, events, and the launch of Miura Arum new website. Kate, please, Vice President Internal.
Hi, everybody. As Auntie was saying, we were hoping that we would be having our activities and events all together again, but considering the fact that COVID is still existing and the activities that went online are very, very active. Those include the book clubs, as you see, we have 3 of them right now, and we're going for 4. We're going to be offering one in Spanish. So if you are interested in joining any of those, just send an email to Miura and we can get in touch with you. The newest activity we have going on right now is pickleball. Perhaps Jeanette, you could say something about that because I am not involved. I don't know. Maybe let us know how it's going since it's a really new activity.
Well, I think that Henry should do that. Henry is the coordinator.
Is he here? I don't know if he's here.
Yes,
I can't
he
see. I
is,
can't
he
see
is.
that. Oh, Henry, you're here.
I
Would
just
you like
unmuted
to
my
say a word
microphone,
about this new activity?
and you caught me by surprise. I've got my mouth full of bread.
Oh, I'm sorry. I see. When I had the slides up, I can't
Um,
see the list of who's here. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, the pickleball group started in January, and we have our last meeting tomorrow. We've got altogether there were 25, maybe a little bit more than that, people signed up. Typically, on any one day, we get about a dozen people. It's worked out very well. People, the facilities at Côte St. Luc are great. We've got that was very, very well, and I think people are having a very good time. So we hope to start it again in the fall. So that's about it. It's
Okay.
going well. It's a lot of fun. It's a new experience for most of us, and we look forward to reconvening in September.
Excellent. So again, anybody who wants to join, just send us an email. And as you will see on our Facebook group, if you haven't joined our Facebook group, it's the best way to find about the most current activities that are going on. And we see that a lot of people are seeing the posts about these activities. Don't hesitate to even ask about it if you want to try it out, or even better, if you have a new activity that you would like to suggest that we can consider for our members. So please don't be shy about suggesting new activities and joining the present ones. So this next slide is our events. As you see, many of them are virtual. Even though they're virtual, they have been very well attended. We are been hosting these walking tours in the spring and in the fall. The next one is going to be on June 8th. That is full. And we will be offering another one in the fall. We haven't decided on when that's going to be. And the same as activities, if you see something going on in Montreal that you think would be of interest to Miura, please let us know. Because when we were attending events, we were going to theater and concerts, and we were getting great group rates. So if you see something you're interested in, please let us know. Okay. Now,
Kate, I
Yeah,
have a proposal.
sure.
Because you mentioned, which is true, that many people attended. It would be good for the future reports that we have number of people attending each of these activities. So
Okay,
that
we can do
it
that.
attracts more people.
Okay, not a problem.
Yeah, if I could add, that information is on the website, because
Yes.
after every event, we write a little blurb on the website and we say how many people attended. So all that information is on the website.
Right. And that's why it would be easy to put it in the slide. But now we go on.
Absolutely,
Now
not a
we go on.
problem. Okay. And this is the website that Jeanette is just referring to. So, well, I'm not going to click on it, but it's the same, actually, it's exact same address that we had before. And the beauty of it is that we are now part of the McGill website platform, and which makes it we have a lot of tools that they have that they will be able to use. And again, anytime you have any comments, what you think of the website, please let us know. Okay.
Hey, I have a question. Okay, Lawrence.
ahead. Lawrence.
Yeah, when the show for the Imagine money was raised, I didn't really know about it. Do we have any upcoming art shows coming up? I think the more advanced notice we have of those, that would be good, because Janet and I went privately to it. We didn't realize that Miura was also sponsoring tickets to it.
Okay,
So,
we send out monthly regular communiques. Information about those type of events are in the communiques. We also sent out a separate message on that. So,
I guess
and yeah, it's you got to look at your email. So that's how we let members know, and it's also on the website.
right.
So if you think of it, oh, I'm going to go look at the site, see if there's any events or going on that I might be interested in, or activities. There's always a way to find out, or just give the person who's running events a message. Okay, sorry you missed them. Okay, so this is Auntie. You can.
Okay, so this is for me. I'm John.
Sorry,
Redmond.
I was just what I was doing. I just made a picture of all the presents, so I was kind of busy. Yes, go ahead, please, John.
Yes, I'm John Gradwell. It's my first year on the executive. I'm the VP external, which means that I'm in charge of membership, and I've been learning as I go. What I found out is that you can see the breakdown here of people who are in MAUT, who are the faculty versus the support staff. You will note, of course, that there are certain groups are much more represented, like, for instance, Munaka and Munasa. But if you're in one of the groups that is not as well represented, you can always encourage your fellows to join in on our Miura membership. It's important, I think, to note that we have increased our membership by 62 members this year, which I think is a good figure. I don't have any comparison with last year. Maybe, Kate, you do. But that seems to be good to me, and it was my pleasure to welcome these 62 new people. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Any questions to John? No. We go on to the next item, which is report on finances by our treasurer, Bob.
Good afternoon, everybody. We have a number of formal financial issues to deal with. The first is a review and approval of the financial statement for the year that ended March 31st. This slide shows you the index of documents that are in that report, which was distributed to you by email last week. Next slide, please, Kate. The report was prepared by the external accounting firm of Mongiad Bernucci, by Mr. Mike Bernucci, who is a certified public accountant. And this is the firm that we found with the help of MAUT and Munasa. Both Munasa and MAUT use this firm to do the financial statements. And this is the second year that the report is being done by them. Next, please. So this is the statement of revenues and expenses for the year ending March 31st. There's a couple of points here that I'd like to call to your attention. We had revenues for the year of 21,367. There are two extraordinary items here in this accounting. On the revenue side, the $10,283 of other income is a special case. $5,000 of that was a special contribution paid to McGill by the Vice Principal Administration of Finance, Yves Beauchamp of the university, in order to help Miura with its administrative IT overhead, particularly with respect to Microsoft 365, which replaces Microsoft Office, so that we would have a cash basis upon which to be able to invest in that software package for the members of the executive. So that was a very generous grant, unexpected, that came forthcoming from Yves Beauchamp. The other $5,283 was the revenue that we received from Curac in exchange for our sponsorship of the online Curac conference last spring. That is a one-time revenue that will not repeat. On the expense side, we had expenses of $16,014. Again, the extraordinary expense was the cost of putting on that virtual Curac conference, which was $4,816. So it means that we made a net profit of about $500 on the event. The other most significant expenses was our member activities for $7,337. We spent quite a bit of money last year, and I'm just going to take a minute to give you an indication of what some of those expenses were, because we have a great variety of events that we underwrote last year. We did 2 Atelier Saveur cooking events for a total cost of almost $1,400. Each event cost almost $700 to organize. We organized tickets to the Monet exhibit, which was a great success in December, but we spent probably close to $2,200 on purchasing tickets for that event. We had a Sal Bourgie concert in October, and we bought tickets for that concert at $625. We also did a number of walking tours. We did 1 in September and 2 in October, so the cost of those walking tours were $450. We underwrote the I Medici concert in December for $500. That took place at McGill. And as Henry pointed out, we rented the Côte St. Luc gym for pickleball. We rent the whole gym, and so we rented the gym for a period of 12 weeks. We paid for the first 6 weeks as part of this fiscal year. That rental cost was $785, and we also bought a bunch of pickleball so that people would have something to play with, another $150 there. So that gives you an idea of what we spent our money on. The other expenses were miscellaneous things here and there. The various activity groups had an allowance available to them of $150. Many of them made use of that allowance to help subsidize their activities. And so we were able to underwrite member activities to a considerable extent. Next slide, please. This is the statement of changes in net assets. So we had excesses of revenues over expenses of $5,300. So our net assets at the end of the year are $36,890. Next slide, please. And this is the balance sheet. Current assets of $38,615. Current liability, accounts payable of $1,725. That's the invoice for the accountant that has not yet been paid, but the accountant's cost for the fiscal year ending March 31st is calculated in that year. So our net balance sheet is $615. Next slide, please. And this is the statement of what our activities are and a description of the nature of the accounting practices that were performed. So are there any questions about this financial statement? Okay, I don't see any questions. Going once, going twice, 3 times. Okay, in which case I would like to propose a motion, which is the resolution on the screen. Be it resolved that the annual general meeting approve the annual financial report for the year ending March 31st, 2022, as prepared by Mangia Bernucci dated May 16th, 2022. So I move the motion. Is there someone who would second the motion, please?
I'll second, Lawrence.
Lawrence Mizek seconds the motion. Is there any, does anybody object to the resolution?
Nobody.
I see nobody objecting. Does anybody abstain from the vote?
Lawrence should take the handle
Lawrence, you should lower your
down.
hand, please.
Okay, sorry.
Please.
So nobody is abstaining, so the motion is carried. Thank you very much. So we go on to the next item. So this is a resolution required by our bylaws with respect to the membership fee that is paid by our members. And so I move the adoption of this resolution. Be it resolved that the annual membership fee for individual memberships in Miura for those individuals not subject to an agreement between Miura and the staff association or union for the year beginning September 1st, 2022 shall be $25, which is the same amount as it is currently. So is there a seconder for this resolution? Debbie Mercier seconds it. Is there any discussion, any questions? Everybody is happy with this. Does anybody object to the motion? I see no objections. Anybody abstain from the motion? I see no abstentions. Okay, thank you very much. So we'll go on to the final point. And the final point is an approval of the budget that we propose for the upcoming fiscal year, beginning April 1st and running to March 31st of 2023. This budget was reviewed by both the executive committee and by the board of directors at its March meeting. What we show on the first slide is our proposed revenues. We propose revenues of $11,576 made up for all practical purposes by the contributions from our member associations, sister associations, excuse me, including individual membership dues. We only carry $500 in potential revenues from activities and events because it's very difficult to know whether or not we will have in-person events in the coming year. And it's really with those in-person events that we have an opportunity to make some money. So we left the amount at a relatively low value of $500. So we propose revenues of $11,576. Next slide, please, Kate. And we propose against that expenses of $14,660, which would mean we run a $3,000 deficit. And the reason we've done this is because we have quite a bit of money in the bank. We're flush with $36,000 in assets. And I think it's important that we try to return a substantial amount of that money to our members through activities. And so we are proposing to run a deficit for the year. So we're budgeting $6,000 for activities and events. The other significant expense that we are carrying is that there is likely to be a CURAC national conference to take place in the coming year. It's not quite clear yet where it will be, but when that happens, it would be important that Miura send a couple of delegates to that conference. And so we're carrying a budget item of $2,500 to cover that contingency should it arise. The rest is pretty straightforward from year to year. So that is the proposed budget with a deficit of $3,000. The next slide, please, Kate, this is my explanation of the notes that were appended to the budget proposal. And I've already made those points. So I would propose the adoption of this budget. Resolution is that the annual general meeting approve the budget for the fiscal year beginning April 1st, 2022 and ending March 31st, 2023, as dated March 9th, 2022. So I move the approval of that budget. Do I have a seconder?
David, second.
David is second. Is there any discussion, any questions about the budget?
I have a question, if you don't mind.
By all means.
I just wasn't fast enough to ask it. How, sorry, it's Greg Blatchford here. To become an individual member that has not been supported by, like, because you didn't belong to an association, how broad is that definition? Can someone join Miura who say worked part-time at McGill and isn't working there? What is I should know this probably, but what are the rules for being able to pay for yourself if you weren't a member of an association, but you did work for McGill? Is it only those permanent ongoing employees who officially retired from McGill that are eligible to pay the individual membership?
Perhaps
Or,
John
what are
could
the
answer. Oh,
criteria?
sorry.
Or
Perhaps John could
shall
answer
I?
this question.
Yes, or shall I answer it? Because I have more of the history.
Sure, go ahead,
John,
please.
if you don't mind.
Okay.
Sure.
We have an affiliate category, and this affiliate category is for university retirees from other universities in Canada, people, employees who have been in the McGill health system, and others like the person, well, like a candidate that you mentioned that is not fully retired from McGill, but had a connection with McGill. But there is a process for that. The person has to write a little bio, and it has to be approved by the board. And then that person becomes an affiliate and has full membership, but no voting rights.
Okay, so thank you for reminding me of those categories. So there is possibilities, but but they go through the board for those. But they needed some connection, but it doesn't have to be a full-time employee who officially retired then. Okay, thank you.
They should go through Roddick Gates at least once.
No, not even. We have members who were employees of McGill, but in the hospitals and never were on campus. So
All right.
even the
Stay
Roddick Gates
corrected.
criteria is not necessarily
Yeah,
accurate.
well, there are other gates, right?
Right.
So we'll consider them.
Okay.
Thank
Are
you.
there other questions or comments about the budget? If not, then I would ask, does anybody object to the adoption of the budget?
No.
No objections? Does anybody abstain from the out? No?
No.
Then thank you very much. The budget is approved. I appreciate your attention to this.
Well, thank you,
Back to
Bob.
you.
As always, you keep us rich, or at least everything is transparent and functions so well that I'll take your advices and with my finances as well. In any case, that's part of the proceedings today. Next item is Jeanette Lamontagne is going to go through the acclimation process for the new members of the board. Jeanette?
Thank you, Auntie. Slide, please, Kate.
It's already there.
Oh, yes, it is. Okay, previous slide. Thank you, I'm sorry. Okay, so every year, as you know, the board appoints a nominating committee. And this year, the nominating committee was composed of Kate Mayhew as chair, Ron Christley, and Richard London. And so we were extremely pleased that they agreed to serve in this capacity. There were two executive members coming to the end of their second term, because as you know, or you may know or not know, but the possibility of serving on the Miura board is for a one 3-year term, renewable for a second term. And so we had two executive members arriving at the end of their second term. And so that's the treasurer and the vice president internal. So with respect to the treasurer, after those 2 3-year mandates, the board was very pleased that the treasurer, the current treasurer, would agree to serve for a third term.
Good.
So you will recall that last fall, there was a membership at large vote. The membership at large was asked to vote on a change of a bylaw, the bylaw 7A, that would permit an officer to serve for a third term. And the vote was carried with an overwhelming majority. So the treasurer then is permitted to serve for a third term. Now, the other very important position that was coming to an end was the vice president internal. And that is a very, very important position as well, because it's really the executive vice president that not only is in charge of events, but also makes sure that all of the reporting deadlines are respected, that the VPs and directors have all the info and support needed to carry on their tasks. So it's a very important position. Well, thanks to the diligent work of the nominating committee, an amazing candidate was found, Rosemary Cook, a very recent retiree. So I would like to propose a motion for the Miura board of 2022, that the Miura board for 2022-2023 be acclaimed by the members. Is there a seconder?
I do. Vikram.
Vikram. Okay, thank you very much. And so, so officially, Rosemary Cook. In fact, there is Rosemary Cook with an E, sorry, on the slides. Rosemary Cook, and welcome, Rosemary Cook, to the board. We're very excited that you are joining us, and thank you so much, Bob, for serving a third term. So I'd like to applaud these two and the board. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. That's all with the item 5. Next is newsletter, and our able editor, Debbie, is going to tell us something about the newsletter.
Okay, thank you, Ante. So Kate McGuire and I are putting the finishing touches. I think last year the annual newsletter was sent out at about this time. So we're, even though we feel like we're late, we're not. So it should be in your inbox within the next week, or at the very latest the following week. So just to recap, I guess, briefly what's in there, because I guess none of us have been traveling. We've been in COVID jail for 2 years. And so there's not too many travel memoirs in this issue, but we do have a special personal piece by Lawrence Mizak on Ukraine, which I'm sure you'll all be waiting to read with great interest. And I have to say, Kate McGuire has submitted a lovely story as well, the trials and tribulations of technology. And I think, you know, you have probably seen Kate's new website, all of you. And I have to say that we should all be giving her a thumbs up. She did yeoman's duty on this site, and she's expressed much blood, much sweat, much tears over the creation of this baby. So I congratulate you, Kate. And I guess the other thing that I just want to highlight is in December, there is an article in the newsletter. We had a joint session, a joint lecture, if you will, with Dr. José Marais, or Jose, nutritional issues in older adults. So there's a little story on that. But I want to point out that one of the things that Ante and I have been doing is we've been had a rapprochement with another group at McGill, the McGill Community for Lifelong Learning. And in fact, in October, there's going to be a second event that's going to be co-sponsored by both Miura and MCLL, whereby the former principal of McGill and Governor General of Canada, David Johnston, will be coming to speak to both groups, and there'll be a joint book signing as well. So mark the October 21st date in your agendas, and you'll be hearing more about that soon. So stay tuned for the newsletter. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Debbie. We are all looking forward for the reading this summer, and perhaps thinking about what to write in the new newsletter about trips this summer. Okay, now item 7, Kate McGuire will tell us something in brief about the results of survey of Miura members. Kate?
Okay, hold on. Interesting. Okay. I just did a resume share and it just brings you back to where you are. So hold on, folks.
All right.
Ah,
You're doing
technology.
well.
Technology. Okay, where did it go? New share. Here we go. I keep getting a blank screen.
Are you host?
Yeah, hold
Are you
on,
the
hold
host?
on.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on. Share
It's all right.
screen. I know, like I said,
Carry on.
technology.
Carry on. I see on my screen, reclaim host.
Okay, hold on. So here's the survey. Ah,
Yes, well done.
oh, God.
Very good.
No, I never used the resume share report. Okay. So as we had sent you a report based on the survey that we did this year, which was quite extensive. So this slide is just illustrating the highlights and of what we learned from the survey. And no surprise, members really enjoyed all those information sessions that we had. Most popular activities, as you can see, are the cycling, pickleball, golf, and book clubs. The events, again, we are really, really looking forward to holding on-site events again. That being said, though, since COVID has offered all of our virtual events, we're getting more participation. We are getting members who are joining us from coast to coast. As an example, when we have the information sessions on benefits or pensions or library sessions or the lectures, they are so thankful that they can join. So we're probably going to still keep offering virtual events even after COVID. And hopefully at McGill, we might be able to offer hybrid events. That hasn't gotten to that point where it really works, but it's something to think about. And some of the suggestions for new activities, a few people said a bowling league. We also had a few people saying we need to provide more information on volunteer activities, and we will definitely do that. Somebody talking about a photography group, but that would be digital photography. And perhaps having lectures by members. We have a lot of academic staffs from all over the university who perhaps we could set up a system of their providing virtual lectures as time goes on. Now, as part of that survey, you also were able to participate in a drawing. We had 22 people participate in the drawing, and right now I'm going to pick the name of the person who's going to win a $50 gift certificate to the Paragraph bookstore. Okay. I'm not looking. Okay, hold on. Is that just one? Okay. Is Dominica Margescu. Are you here? You don't have to be here to win. Dominica is not here?
Dominica.
Okay, Dominica Margescu. Okay, so I should be very happy to receive my email that she is the winner.
Thank you, Kate.
Debbie has a question?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand, Kate, what's meant by volunteer opportunity information. Is that volunteer opportunities within Miura?
Within the Montreal community, within McGill, within everywhere. Yeah.
Okay.
We have a lot of members that volunteer for different associations and organizations. And perhaps people would like to be more aware of where they can, use their skills for these organizations and associations. So it'd be nice to have that information in one spot, or even, perhaps have somebody come on and talk about volunteer opportunities. Al?
Yeah, I mean, I saw that, understood that as what you just said. I think some people might be more interested in volunteering if they not as a big group, but you have some people going here, so you go with a buddy or two
Right,
that's part of the
right,
group, and you might be more willing to go. So if
Mhm,
somebody's
no.
volunteering and thinks, yeah, I'd like some people to join me one day a week or
Mhm.
whatever, I think you might get some takers.
Thank you, Alfred.
And
Bob, you have raised
Yeah.
your hand.
Kate, did anybody who was, with respect to the suggestions for the bowling and photography and so
Mhm.
forth, did anybody express an interest in actually being the coordinator of such activities?
Nope.
Okay, well, that's the challenge, right? Is
I
we
know, that's
require
always the
someone,
challenge.
we require someone to take on the responsibility to help organize it
Mhm.
because the
Mhm.
executive cannot
That
do
was
all
one
of
of the questions. Would you be willing to organize? Yeah.
Okay.
Lawrence?
Well, yeah, just to give you an example of volunteer activities that I've been involved in the last year since COVID. I've given a couple of flute piano recitals to senior residents, enormously appreciated. So those musicians, singers in the audience, that's a great activity. Another one that I've done, which is a new experiment, is I've been reading a few stories, a few memoirs I've been reading to seniors as well. And again, that's a greatly appreciated activity.
Well, I agree. This, like I said, it'd be great if, like, say, on our website, we have a section, for volunteering, that people can, members can send us that kind of information. We can put it on and perhaps at one point even have like a volunteer event, like, we can discuss what people want to do, what they want to offer. So I think that was a wonderful idea.
Thank you. In that case, let me just describe one slowly developing volunteering, or we could say volunteer in more complex way. This is a Miura, a Medical Student Society social club. The idea, which was kind of stimulated by one big problem in COVID, that seniors, our members, are often rather isolated and need some kind of interaction. On the other hand, students always express interest to talk to seniors that are not part of their immediate, shall we say, teaching group. So we have already tried some of the events, and I would say that we have one more member among these attendees, and that's Pat Forbes, and there are a few other coming. You will be informed by an invitation to join one of the 10 test cases. Such, for example, do you need somebody to accompany you to an event? Do you need some training in dealing with your computer, on one hand? On the other hand, are you interested in medical student telling you something very general about health issues that are of your interest? You'll hear more about this through usual ways, emails and such things. Thank you. Well, any other comments on the survey? Any questions about the survey? If not, thank you, Kate. And I'm
Well, I
very
would just like to
happy.
say one more thing about the survey. You don't have to wait for surveys. If you think of something, just let us know. Because we usually only do the survey, every 2 years. And that could be a long time in between. So just don't hesitate to let us know what you would like to do.
Right,
Thank
that's
you.
one thing, but it doesn't mean that you are invited to do your own survey. You can. All right, so these are two different things. Thank you, Kate. And we
Okay.
come to the moment where we are opening discussion about activities of Miura Arum, and the floor is yours. Just to raise your hand and put that yellow hand up and ask questions, comments, anything. Singing is not accepted because the audio is really bad, so just talk. Also, silly jokes are not accepted. Past my silly joke. All right. Well, this is, I know it's a rough day, and you have been exposed to many different things. If, yes,
Yeah,
Lawrence, please.
yes,
Lawrence.
I had. Just wanted to raise the issue that's not on the agenda, and it's not quite appropriate, but there is this, to some mysterious organization called MAUT RAC, Retired Affairs Committee, that has sort of some links with Miura, and some people in Miura do get involved in these activities of MAU2 RAC. Can you care to comment on that, Antti?
Yes, I could just say that we do try to coordinate things between RAC and Miura. We have some, we are now in the process of refining who is doing what, because at the beginning of this discussion with the new RAC, shall we say, executive and president, it was very clear that Miura is taking care of social events. There was recently a proposal that RAC also deals with social events. So rather than duplicate or go in parallel, we are trying now to resolve, as it was always the case, that Miura membership includes RAC. And that RAC, because of its academic nature, is very well suited to do some special series of lectures, which they did very well. But when it comes to social events, we are pretty well practiced, and these are events open to everybody. In any case, this is a work in progress, and I think that we are going to meet soon to discuss this particular issue of social events being organized outside of Miura.
Antti, can I just add a word?
Please do.
In case people aren't aware of this, the agreement that we have with MAUT is that people who are involved in MAUT RAC are automatically members of Miura. They are not, and therefore the Miura membership includes all of MAUT RAC members. And so, you know, the MAUT RAC sees the need to have, on occasion, events of their exclusive interest and purview, and there's nothing wrong with that. We encourage that, but at the same time, we want to encourage that there is a single retiree association that represents and involves all cohorts and all demographics of the McGill community, and so that's what Miura is.
And Miura's activities are, of course, open to all Miura members. This means RAC as well and everybody else. Okay, any other comments? Any other question?
Ante?
Yes, please.
Richard London. I've
Please.
sort of been thinking about something since I joined this organization. I'm finding since retirement, I still have all this energy and don't know how to use it. So
that's a dangerous thing to admit.
I know it is, but I was thinking, I mean, essentially, you know, I want to pay back somehow. And I thought of things like, as we get older, people are less capable of doing small jobs around the house and things like that, planting a garden. What if we had volunteers who were saying, okay, we're going to this address, 3 hours, we're going to bring all the mulch and whatever, and we're going to plant that garden that morning, and then something like that. So little jobs, maybe a small painting job, like nothing major. And I'm concerned about the legal ramifications of it if, like, you spill paint on somebody's carpet or something. I don't know, but the idea of, you know, paying it forward.
Excellent idea. Excellent idea.
Rent a retiree.
It's a sweet idea.
I have an immediate job. We just lost somebody who used to cut our grass for many years.
There you go.
And well, you know, we do barbecue, cut the grass, have few pints, and shoot the breeze, as they say, right?
No,
Yes.
but cutting grass is a
Richard will
nice
be there
thing to
tomorrow.
do.
Sorry? Say it
Richard
again.
will be at your house tomorrow.
Oh, okay. I better
Cutting
prepare
lawns
something.
is something I actually enjoy doing.
Tomorrow is Bob. Bob is coming tomorrow morning. Bob. You didn't volunteer
I'm not
for
bringing
cutting
my
grass.
lawnmower. I don't have a
Okay,
lawnmower to
all right.
bring.
Neither do I. So now I have to find that thing. No, these are types of things. Let me just tell you what this type of, shall we say, offers entails, and that is logistics. How do you really, we have medical students that are very keen to do things. We have academics that medical students are interested in talking to, primarily physicians. How do we, but it's open to everybody in Miura, not really physicians only. How do we make sure that we have this in a way, without too much complication, joined these parties? I have some plans, and I'll be discussing this at some other point, but with this, we have to also find a way to incorporate volunteers like Richard before somebody grabs him and put him in action. Anybody else that volunteers for this?
Well, I was thinking also it might be a way of raising funds if we need funds for either a charity or for Miura itself to sponsor something. I mean, a nominal fee. I mean, if everything's free in life, then for sure everybody's going to say they want it or whatever. But for some purpose, maybe it's for a food bank or something like that.
That's a very good idea, and I'm all for it. And I've been doing this for about 40 years.
Well, there you go.
It's a great satisfaction that you do things, and particularly when nobody knows it, because that's the way to do it. But they will all know that you cut my grass, I can assure you.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? Now we are warming up, so give your minds a little imagination.
I have my hand raised.
Yes, you're behind my camera. That's why I can't see you. All right, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I'd like to reinstate what everyone has said, that this is a very sweet idea, Richard. It's very kind of you. Our address is 15 Nelson. We could have a list. But also I wanted to thank you because Richard has taken the minutes for the 2021 AGM, and he's taking the minutes again for the 2022. So thank you very much, Richard. This is a wonderful use of your time, and we will be pleased to encourage you in anything else you would like to take on.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well, we are just right time to go to the last event of our evening or afternoon, and that is to ask Rosemary to propose a toast to the 7th anniversary of Miura.
We don't have our wine.
It's all yours, Rosemary, and be prepared to have a glass or something.
Could we have a second to get a glass?
Yes,
Right.
of course. I don't
Two
have
seconds.
wine.
I second that.
Seconds, I'm counting. One.
I have to open my bubbly.
That's buble.
Bubbly. Bubbly is opened. Pouring bubbly.
Kate, you don't waste any time, do you?
No, dear. There we go. I love these little things. Just enough. I'm ready.
Okay, whoops.
Okay, before we go into the toast, I better get my hand down. Before we go into the toast, I would like to officially thank Kate McGuire for an extraordinary extraordinary mandate that she took over for 6 years. She's also a founding member, a founding board member. She has been extraordinary. And the good news is that Kate is so good with her technology and she likes it so much that she will continue as webmaster and coordinator of communications for Miura. So please, this is a pre-toast. This is just thank you, Kate.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kate.
Agreed.
You're very, very welcome. And let's put it this way. As long as I can hit a keyboard, I'm going to be helping out. Okay.
Good. Keep it doing. Keep
Thank
doing
you,
it. Okay. Now,
Cheers
finally,
to all of you.
Is
a toast.
Rosemary back?
Rosemary.
There well, Kate, I want to thank you too for keeping on the website and stuff because it's not something I want to do. and what you're leaving
That's
on,
one way we got her.
And what you're leaving on my plate is kind of intimidating me, but I'll try
No,
to.
no.
Please,
Rosemary, we all started out the same way, so don't worry, you're gonna have a lot of help.
okay, as this meeting ends the 7th year of Miura, I want to thank the board members, the executive, and especially the members of Miura for all the participation in the events and everything that has gone on in the past 7 years. And I propose a toast to 7 years and 7 more, and maybe a century of it.
Oh,
Wow.
Wow.
Century.
Wonderful.
yeah.
Cheers.